Hey, it's Marina, Travel Experta, and today we're going to be talking about beautiful canyon outside of San Cristobal de las Casas. Are you guys ready for an adventure? Let's begin. Sumidero Canyon. Yeah, it's a tricky word. It's located about 2 hours outside of San Cristobal de las Casas. It's one of those kind of must-do types of day trips. So to take it up a certain level, what I ended up doing, not to just drive there and, get there like normal, we actually did a motorcycle tour to get there. Like we each had our own motorcycles. I have an entire podcast about doing a motorcycle tour, something that I really recommend. You do not need to know how to drive motorcycles. I had a motorcycle that was automatic, so it was super cool. And my husband had one that was an actual motorcycle, but you don't need to know how to drive motorcycles. But that's please go and listen to that podcast about that. It's a whole other experience that you must do. So, Sumidero Canyon is in Chiapas de Chorzo. That's the name of the town that it is located. The town is obviously built completely around this boat tour because it's in a boat. You have to get on a boat. It's a river that takes you this canyon. The boat tour itself is about 3 hours long. The tickets cost about 275 pesos, which I would say, I'm trying to figure it out, maybe like $25 per person. Super worth it. The canyon is absolutely beautiful. And there's some wildlife. We saw a couple of crocodiles, which was really cool. We saw a family of spider monkeys, but the whole tour was really fun. Like you get to see the canyon. Like the canyon is outstanding. There's a certain part that it goes up to almost, the wall is almost 1,000 meters high. And then it takes you to one of the most well-known dams in Mexico that literally gives away 50, not gives away, but sells 50% of its hydro energy to the rest of Central America, and the other 50% goes throughout Mexico. It's a really important dam, and that's kind of like the end part of the tour that goes through this canyon, and that's the other reason why it is the river there is really calm because of the dam. Otherwise, in a canyon, usually it's really rough waters, and it wasn't at all. So it's a really cool tour. I definitely recommend it. But getting there is also part of the fun. So if you are up for a cool adventure like a motorcycle tour, super. If not, it's very easy to get there by car. You could take a colectivo, you could take a taxi, you could take a local bus. There are many ways to get there. And the town itself is really fun. It's totally tourist based. So there's hundreds of restaurants, especially there's a huge central park, which is actually one of the oldest central parks in all of Mexico because it's apparently one of the very first places that the conquistadores, the Spanish, the Spaniards arrived to conquer Mexico. So it is kind of an interesting place, and there's all these different people selling everything that you could possibly imagine. So that's kind of fun, right? It's a very touristy part area. It is a touristy thing to do. Interestingly enough, though, I would say 10% were tourists and 90% were Mexicans. So it's a local tourist attraction. So that makes it even cooler, right? So, anyways, it's a beautiful thing to see if you're into nature and canyons. Without a doubt, a really interesting spot and a really cool adventure. If you have guys have been there, I'd love to hear your feedback. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave me a review, share it with your friends, and remember to make every day an adventure.